Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm your host. Today, we're jumping straight into the current affairs of August 22nd, 2025. This is part one. Our mission, like always, is to give you that essential shortcut to being well-informed. We pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from today's news, and it's all tailored specifically for you, our dedicated UPSC aspirant listeners.
That's exactly right. We're here to help you get beyond just what happened. We want you to understand why it matters. We'll connect the dots, offer some critical perspectives, and, some topics might ring a bell. Maybe a useful bit of revision for your preparation.
Yeah, definitely. We got a really broad range today. Crucial national policy, some defense updates, social equity concerns, and even some pretty fascinating scientific discoveries. It's quite a mix. So if you find this deep dive valuable for your prep, please do remember to like and subscribe. It really helps us bring more insights like this directly to you. Okay, let's kick things off. A really critical report from the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Civil Aviation Safety just landed. And it's quite revealing.
It is. This report digs deep into India's civil aviation safety environment. It looks at how effective the DGCA, the Director General of Civil Aviation, is being, especially, with the massive growth we're seeing in civil aviation right now. How do we keep it safe as it expands so quickly? That's the core question.
And the report flags some pretty pressing issues, doesn't it? Like the DGCA's staff shortage. How bad is that problem, really?
It's stark. They're operating with about a 50% shortfall in staff. 50%. And it's hampered by a recruitment process through UPSC that's described as slow, inflexible. This directly hits their ability to actually oversee things properly. Plus, you've got ongoing shortages for air traffic controllers, the ATCOs. High workload there.
Wow. And the report also mentions a backlog, unresolved safety findings.
Yes, a large backlog. Especially in airworthiness and aerodrome standards, things just aren't getting resolved quickly enough.
That sounds worrying. Does the report say why? I mean, isn't there an occurrence review board for this?
There is, but the report points to inadequate root cause analysis. So incidents keep happening because the core issue isn't fully addressed. And then there are other challenges. The domestic MRO sector, maintenance, repair, overhaul, faces problems. High tax on imported parts, infrastructure gaps. And, maybe most concerning, a fear of penalties might actually be stopping people from reporting issues, which, fundamentally undermines the whole safety system.
So it's not just one thing, it's like a whole system issue.
Exactly. That's what's fascinating. These aren't isolated problems, they all connect. And the report doesn't just point fingers, it offers clear recommendations for systemic improvement. For you studying UPSC, this is a classic governance challenge, right? Balancing rapid growth with effective regulation.
Right. And the recommendations reflect that systemic approach. They're calling for enhancing the DGCA's autonomy, full administrative and financial independence with a timeline, and, interestingly, setting up a specialized recruitment body, decoupling DGCA hiring from UPSC. That's a big structural shift.
It is. And for the ATCOs, immediate action on fatigue risk management, a staffing audit, more training capacity, plus strengthening surveillance, a mechanism to close those deficiency reports faster, stronger enforcement, maybe financial penalties.
Makes sense. And for recurring risks.
Detailed root cause analysis for every single incident. Focused programs to fix the underlying problems. And for the MRO sector, rationalizing taxes, fiscal incentives, infrastructure support, even a national aviation skill development mission.
They also talk about just culture, right? Making it safe to report errors.
Precisely. Encouraging reporting without fear of blame. Plus, comprehensive whistleblower protection.
So wrapping this up, it's all about ensuring safety, efficiency, making sure India's booming aviation sector stays reliable. Vital stuff. Okay, shifting gears a bit, but sticking with governance, the union government has introduced some significant bills. First, a set of 3 bills dealing with elected officials facing serious criminal charges. This includes the Constitution, 130th Amendment Bill, 2025.
Right. The main goal here is to create a legal framework for removing ministers. It's about upholding constitutional morality, good governance, and protecting that public trust. The 130th Amendment specifically targets Article 75 for the Union, 164 for states, and 239 AA for Delhi.
Okay, so what's the trigger? What actually starts this removal process?
The trigger's pretty specific. Arrest and detention in custody for 30 consecutive days. This is for an alleged offense punishable with 5 years or more imprisonment. By the 31st day, the removal or resignation process must start.
And how does that process work?
For union ministers, the PM recommends removal to the president. For state ministers, the CM recommends it to the governor. In UTs with assemblies, the CM recommends the lieutenant governor. Importantly, for the PM or a CM themselves, no recommendation is needed. They either resign or are automatically considered removed on day 31.
Automatic removal if no action is taken. And how does this compare to what we have now? Because this sounds quite different from the RPA.
It is quite different. If no action's taken by day 31, office cessation is automatic. Reappointment is possible after release, though. Now comparing it. Currently, Section 8 of the Representation of the People Act, 1951, only disqualifies legislators after conviction and a sentence of at least 2 years. The Law Commission's 170th report also talked about measures around the framing of charges, but these new bills, they trigger removal based on detention, not conviction.
That's a significant change. Detention versus conviction.
It is. And that's likely what the Joint Parliamentary Committee, where these bills have been referred, will be looking at very closely. Does this open the door to potential misuse? That's the key question.
Okay, next piece of legislation, the Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Bill 2025, passed in Lok Sabha recently.
Yes, this one has constitutional backing under Article 117. The objective is clear. Create a solid legal framework. It aims to regulate, yes, but also promote and encourage the online gaming sector, foster innovation, economic growth. But crucially, ensuring it's a developed, safe, and responsible digital space.
And it makes some interesting distinctions, right? How it categorizes games.
It does, very clearly. 3 types. First, esport. Part of multi-sport events, outcome based purely on physical dexterity or mental agility. Think competitive gaming tournaments. Second, online social game. No money involved, just for fun, recreation, skill development. Third, online money game. This is where you pay fees or deposit money expecting to win money or something valuable. Skill or chance doesn't matter for this definition. But esports are explicitly excluded from this category.
And the big takeaway here seems to be the treatment of online money games.
Absolutely. An absolute prohibition. No playing, no advertising, and crucially, no financial transactions allowed through banks or financial institutions for these types of games. It's a very strong stance. Contrast that with the mandate for the government to actively promote esports and online social games.
So, a clear divide. And there's talk of a new authority.
Yes, a proposed online gaming authority. It would handle policy support, strategic development, and regulatory oversight for the whole sector. You can see the government's dual strategy here, can't you? Encourage the good parts, clamp down hard on the potentially harmful aspects, trying to manage a very fast-moving digital landscape.
Okay, let's move from those specific bills to a broader social justice issue. Reservations. A parliamentary standing committee report, this one on education, women, children, youth, and sports, has strongly backed reservations in private higher educational institutions, citing Supreme Court judgments.
Yes, this report, 370th, tackles a major problem. The really low representation of marginalized communities in private HEIs. The numbers are quite stark. For example, in 2024-25, BITS Pilani had only 10% OBC students, 0.5% SC, and 0.8% ST out of over 5,000 students, and high fees are singled out as a huge barrier, making these places unaffordable for so many.
And the scale of the private sector makes this critical, doesn't it? You mentioned the numbers.
Exactly. Over 65% of colleges in India are private unaided, plus over 500 private universities. The public sector just doesn't have the capacity for everyone, especially with India's population growth and the national education policy aiming for a 50% gross enrollment ratio in higher ed.
So the need is clear. What about the constitutional basis?
The committee says the constitutional mandate is clear. Article 15(5) empowers the state to make special provisions, reservations for SCs, STs, and SEBCs in admissions. And this explicitly includes private institutions, though minority institutions are an exception. The Supreme Court even upheld the validity of Article 15(5) back in 2014 in the Pramati Educational Trust case.
Okay, so constitutionally sound, clear need. What are the key recommendations then? How do they propose implementing this?
The main recommendation is for Parliament to pass legislation mandating these reservations across the country. Specifically, 27% for OBCs, 15% for SCs, and 7.5% for STs in private higher educational institutions. But, and this is crucial, the government must fully cover the financial cost, similar to the 25% quota in private schools under the Right to Education Act.
So the financial burden wouldn't fall on the institutions or other students.
That's the proposal. Also, enforcing the Creevy layer principle for OBCs with regular updates to the criteria. And finally, focusing on awareness, reaching out, especially in remote areas, perhaps working with NGOs, to make sure people know about these opportunities.
So for you listening, this is all about striving for equitable access to quality education, a real cornerstone for development and mobility. Staying with education and rights, Let's look at Uttarakhand. The state assembly there recently passed the Uttarakhand Minority Education Bill 2025.
Right. The main aim of this bill is quite direct. Abolish the existing Madrasa board, and in its place, establish a new body called the Uttarakhand Minority Education Authority.
This immediately brings up those core constitutional articles related to minority rights. Maybe a quick recap for everyone as revision.
Good idea. So remember, Article 29(1). Any section of citizens with a distinct language, script, or culture has the right to conserve it. Then Article 29(2). No discrimination for admission into state-maintained or aided institutions based only on religion, race, caste, or language. Article 31 is key. All minorities, religious or linguistic, have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. And Article 32. The state can't discriminate in giving aid just because an institution is managed by a minority.
So this Uttarakhand bill needs to be seen in light of those protections.
Exactly. It highlights that ongoing, often delicate balance between state regulation and the constitutional rights of minority groups to maintain their cultural and educational identity.
Okay, let's switch focus now to national security. Big news here. India successfully test-fired the Agni-5 intermediate-range ballistic missile.
Yes, a very significant test. It was conducted under the Strategic Forces Command, the SFC. And remember, the SFC is part of India's Nuclear Command Authority. They manage our tactical and strategic nuclear arsenal. So this isn't just any missile test.
Definitely not. So unpack Agni-5 for us. What makes it so significant? Its features.
Well, it's a nuclear-capable surface-to-surface ballistic missile, an SSBM. It uses a three-stage solid fuel engine, which is important for quicker deployment. Its range is over 5,000 kilometers. It's developed by DRDO, of course. Part of that original Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, alongside Prithvi, Trishul, Nag, and Akash.
And the really interesting part, the capability that puts India in a very select group,
is the MIRV capability. Multiple independently targetable reentry vehicle. This means one missile can carry several warheads, each capable of hitting a different target. Possessing MIRV-capable IRBMs puts India alongside only a handful of other nations: the U.S., Russia, China, and France.
just as a quick revision, SSBMs.
Right, surface-to-surface ballistic missiles. They get an initial rocket boost, then follow an unpowered arcing path to the target, can carry nuclear or conventional warheads, and range categories. Short is under 1,000 kilometers, medium is 1,000 to 3,000 kilometers. Agni-5, being over 5,000 kilometers, is intermediate range.
So the MIRV capability on Agni-5, what's the strategic implication?
It's a major boost to India's deterrence posture. It significantly enhances the credibility and survivability of our retaliatory capability. It signals advanced indigenous defense technology and really strengthens India's strategic standing.
Okay, from defense tech, let's move to trade and diplomacy. India and the Eurasian Economic Union, the EAEU, have signed terms of reference for a trade deal.
Yes, this signing formally kicks off negotiations for a free trade agreement, an FTA. The goal is a long-term framework for trade cooperation.
What could this mean for India economically and strategically? What are the potential upsides?
Potentially huge upsides. Economically, think trade expansion. Bilateral trade was already USD $69 billion in 2024, up 7% from 2023. This could unlock much more. Increased investments, wider market access for Indian exporters, especially important with trade tensions elsewhere, enhanced competitiveness, particularly for our MSMEs, and of course energy. The EAEU has vast natural resources. Russia alone now supplies 35–40% of India's oil imports by volume. This FTA could solidify that energy partnership.
And strategically?
Strategically, deepening ties with this Russia-led bloc reinforces India's multi-alignment policy, diversifying our major partnerships.
Can you briefly remind us what the EAEU is?
Sure. It's an international organization for regional economic integration, formed in 2014. Its core principle is the free movement of goods, services, capital, and labor among its member states, aiming for a single market.
Got it. Now, quickly on the financial front, SEBI is proposing to ease minimum public shareholding norms, the MPS rules.
That's right. MPS currently requires all listed companies in India to have at least 25% of their shares held by the public non-promoters. It's a legal mandate under the Securities Contracts Regulation Act.
Why is MPS important in the first place?
Its purpose is really about market integrity, ensuring adequate public participation, preventing too much ownership concentration by promoters. It also enhances corporate governance, transparency, and provides better liquidity for trading shares.
So why ease the norms if they serve these important functions?
It's likely a balancing act. SEBI might be looking to make it easier for companies, especially newer, high-growth ones, to get listed and raise capital without the immediate pressure of meeting that 25% public float right away, trying to encourage IPOs while still aiming for market health in the longer term.
Okay. And one more quick item, Global Capability Centers, or GCCs. The International Solar Alliance plans to set one up in India, a Silicon Valley for solar.
Yes. GCCs are basically strategic hubs that companies set up to support their global operations. They leverage talent, technology, innovation from a specific location. The goal is to enhance the parent organization's capabilities, drive transformation. India is attractive for GCCs mainly due to cost efficiency and our large pool of skilled talent.
All right, let's shift to the environment and some geography. First, the Thatikad Bird Sanctuary in Kerala. Good news there.
Very good news. A recent faunal survey added 9 new species to its records. Thatikad is in Ernakulam district. It was Kerala's first bird sanctuary, known as one of the richest spots in the Western Ghats. Lots of biodiversity. It has unique marshy areas called vales near the Periyar and Idamalaya rivers. Teak, rosewood, leopards, sloth bears. It's ecologically rich.
Fantastic. And speaking of wildlife, saltwater crocodiles in the Sundarbans.
Their population has increased in the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve in West Bengal, which is great news. And what's fascinating is that the saltwater crocodile, Crocodilus porosus, is the largest reptile in the world. Huge animals. They live in saline mangrove swamps, deltas, lagoons across the eastern Indian and western Pacific Oceans.
And their conservation status, good for a revision.
Right. IUCN Red List, Least Concern. Wildlife Protection Act, 1972. Schedule 1 states, Appendix 1. So while globally they are least concerned, they get top protection in India and internationally for trade regulation. This population increase really shows successful localized conservation in a unique place like the Sundarbans.
Okay, moving to geopolitics and a specific location. Lipulekh Pass. India rejected Nepal's objection regarding trade resumption there.
Yes. This relates back to 2020 when Nepal amended its constitution and issued a new map claiming Limpiadhura, Lipulekh, and Kalapani. India maintains its position. Lipulekh Pass itself is a Himalayan pass in Uttarakhand, India. Crucially important. It's a vital link to Tibet, China. Key for trade and pilgrimage, especially the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. It's also part of that battlefield tourism initiative, Harat Ranbhumi Darshan. This situation just highlights the ongoing border sensitivities and the strategic value of these Himalayan passes.
Got it. Now, quickly on energy tech, coal gasification, Niti Aayog flagged an issue.
Yes, the issue is that much of the existing global gasification technology isn't compatible with India's coal. Our coal has very high ash content, 30–45%, and a specific alumina-silica composition that makes standard tech unsuitable. Just a reminder, coal gasification converts coal into syngas. That syngas can then be used for electricity, fuel cells, or making other products like methanol, fertilizers, etc. So we need tailored tech for our coal.
Makes sense. And finally, a quick place in news update, Vietnam.
Right. India and Vietnam just held their 6th high-level meeting on maritime cooperation. So Vietnam's been in the news. Geographically, capital Hanoi, borders China, Laos, Cambodia, Gulf of Thailand, South China Sea, major rivers. Red and Mekong, also home to Hang Sundung Cave, the world's largest known cave passage, and the stunning Ha Long Bay, a UNESCO site. Its location is vital for regional dynamics.
Okay, let's wrap up our specific topics with something truly cosmic. A giant solar tornado. Researchers captured an image.
They did. These things are incredible. They're essentially massive rotating structures of plasma ionized gas held by magnetic fields, formerly called tornado prominences. The scale is just mind-boggling. Heights up to 130,000 kilometers, rotating at speeds up to 200,000 kilometers per hour.
Wow, that's immense. And hot, too.
Extremely hot. Around 250,000 degrees Celsius. They're often seen near the sun's poles. Estimates suggest thousands could be swirling on the sun at any given time.
So they look amazing, but what's their significance? Do they do anything important?
They might play a role in funneling heat into the sun's outer atmosphere, the corona, and potentially contribute to the solar wind, that stream of charged particles flowing from the sun. What's really fascinating is how these intense solar events can impact space weather, which in turn can affect us here on Earth, a powerful reminder of our dynamic solar system.
Phew. Okay, that was quite the deep dive into August 22nd, 2025, Part 1. We really covered a lot of ground. Aviation safety, those governance bills, national defense with Agni 5, social equity and education, those trade deals, environmental news, and even solar tornadoes.
Absolutely. We hope this hasn't just been a list of facts, but has given you a framework, a way to understand the deeper implications, connect those dots. Hopefully it enhances your comprehensive preparation for the UPSC exams.
And here's something to chew on as you continue your studies. As technology races ahead and the world gets more complex, how do nations strike that right balance? That balance between strong regulatory oversight, which we saw is crucial in aviation, and the equally vital need to foster innovation, protect individual freedoms, like with online gaming or minority rights. It's a constant tension, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. If you found this discussion valuable, if it helped your preparation, please do hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more. Your support really does help us keep doing these deep dives for you.
Absolutely. Until our next deep dive, keep questioning, keep learning.
See you next time.